personal finance practice problem using Excel. Loan periods impact on payment amount. Prepare to get financially fit by practicing personal finance. Here we are in our Excel worksheet. If you have access to the Excel worksheet, would like to follow along, note that we're down here in the practice tab as opposed to the example tab. The example tab in essence being an answer key. We have the information on the left-hand side. We're going to populate that into the blue area on the right-hand side, comparing and contrasting different loans that are going to be paid back in installments, monthly installments, for different time periods, including years of 30, 15, 10, and 5. And we'll see the difference in the payment amount as well as the difference when we build our amortization table. We're going to have the loan keeping it constant at the 100,000. We're going to keep the rate constant at the 12%. So let's start off with, and we'll do this a little bit faster because we've seen these in the past. And if you want to practice just time value of money calculations, take a look at a prior section where we focus in on that in detail. So here we're gonna apply those concepts here. We're going to do our payment calculation, PMT, for 30 years. We're assuming monthly payments for 30 years at the 12% annual rate for the 100,000 loan, negative PMT. PMT shift 9, the rate is going to be that 12%, but that's the yearly rate. We're going to need a monthly rate because we want to break it down 2 months, so we're going to divide it by 12, and then comma. We got the number of periods, which would be 30 years, but those are years. We want to make them monthly periods, so times 12 will give us the periods, and then comma, we have the payment, which is going to be the 100,000, and that should do it. Enter. So we got the 1,029. Now, oftentimes we might have comparisons when we're looking at this and say, well, what if I took a 15-year loan? What would be the impact on the payment and the amount of interest that we would be paying, and so on and so forth. So to figure out the total interest we would pay over the life of the loan, let's now do our amortization table here and think about it. There's a couple ways you can calculate the total interest, but let's do our amortization table. It's just good practice all the way down to 360 periods because it's a 30-year loan times 12. So we're going to say 0, 1. I'm going to do this fairly quickly, but notice using Excel, we can do it fairly easily. We're going to select these 3 cells with a 1, 0, 1, 2 in it, put our cursor in the fill handle, and drag it on down. And you can see the little number thing pops up telling us we're down to 200 something, 300 something, and then it even slows down when I get down to the blue area, saying, hey, you're almost there. And there's the 360. Let's center it, centerizing it. And then we'll put the loan on the far left equals the original amount in period 0, amount in period 0. The payment is going to be equal to the 1,029. I want that to be the same all the way down, so I'm going to select F4 on the keyboard, put in a $ before the E and the 1. You only need a mixed reference, but an absolute reference is easier, I think. And then we'll calculate our interest for 1 month, which will be equal to the prior balance, the 100,000, times the yearly rate, which is 12%. We need to make it a monthly rate by dividing it by 12. So we have then equals the decrease in the loan will be the payment of the 1,029 minus the 1,000 or 29 difference. That means that the loan, 100,000 minus 29, will give us the decrease in the loan. There we have it. Now this interest one, I'm double clicking on this interest here. Notice I did not make that 12% an absolute reference. And if I don't do that, then when I copy it down, it's gonna move that cell down. I don't want that cell to move down. So we're gonna put our cursor in B2, make it absolute as well. Selecting F4 on the keyboard, $ before the B and the 2, so that when we copy it down, that cell will not move down. So let's select these 4 cells now, and I'm just going to, you could just double click on it this time instead of dragging it down. Just double click, and it just does it, just like magic. It's magical. Excel is magical. So then if you go down, we can then total up the bottom line here, the totals, and sum this up equals the SUM. And then sum up the payments. I'm going to sum all the way up. Summing up, we're moving up to the summit of this column so that we could sum it up with the sum formula. So we're going to sum it up by moving up to the summit of the column. and sum it up just like so. And then we'll put our cursor there and we'll drag that on over, and there we have it. So there's the total on the interest, and then we paid back our principal on the loan payment. Loans down to 0 at the end of this entire thing. Let's do the same thing, but now let's assume that we use the 15. So I'll make this one we used the 30. Let's make it green right there. So we could say that's the one we used. We used the 30. That's the one. This one, we're going to use the 15. 15 years. What would happen if we did like 15 years instead of 30? What would happen then? That's what our question is this time. So we'll say, all right, well then we got the PMT, and this will be on the 15 year, PMT 15 year. Same calculation, but with 15, negative PMT shift 9 rate is going to be 12%. And that's going to be the yearly rate. We want a monthly rate, so we're going to divide it by 12, comma. The number of periods is going to be 15 now, but those are years. We want months, so that's going to be times 12. And then comma, and then the present value is once again the 100,000 and enter. So now we got the 1,002 on the payment, which is greater than the payment over here because we're paying it off over a shorter time period. So obviously, when you're thinking about, how high is the loan payment that you have, one option that you have is to extend the time period on the loan to try to get to a lower amount that you would be paying monthly. But in so doing, you'll have a longer term on the loan and you will be paying more interest. That's one of the concepts that we will have. So let's calculate the interest then this way. We're going to have 180 periods, which is 15 times 12. Instead of 360 or half of 360 because it's a 15 instead of a 30. Let's say this is going to be 0, 1, 2. Let's do our same thing. 0, 1, 2, buckle my shoe. Okay. We're going to copy this down. 180 periods. 180 periods. My shoes have shoelaces, not buckles. But that doesn't work. 1, 2, tie my shoelace. It's got to go 1, 2, buckle my whatever. Anyways, we're going to go alignment and center. There we have it. And then the loan amounts in the outer column. This is going to be equal to the 100,000. We'll do our same calculation on the payment. The payment's going to be equal to the 1,200. We're going to copy that all the way down. Selecting F4 on the keyboard, $ before the Q and the 1. You only need a mixed reference, but an absolute is easier and works. This equals the 100,000 times the 12%. We want that to stay the same as we copy it down. So F4 on the keyboard, $ before the N and 2. You only need a mixed reference, but an absolute works. And divide it by 12 because that's the yearly rate. We want a monthly rate. Tab. Then we're going to say the 1,200 minus the 1,000 is a change of 200. The loan balance decreasing by 200, so our new loan balance will be equal to the 100,000 minus the 200, or 99.8. We're simply going to copy that down all the way down by selecting those 4 cells, put our cursor on the fill handle, double click on it again, and then the magic happens just like that. That's how it's like what's her name that taps her shoes together. That's how you do it. You just double click on the fill handle and the magic happens. And then we'll sum this up equals the SUM using the summit function. Summing this one up all the way up to the top, up to the summit of the column. So we could sum it. And there we are. And then we put our cursor here, and then I'm going to copy that across. So there we have it. Let's put an underline under font group and underline. So now we've got the total payments interest at the 11630 over the life of this thing, as opposed to if I scroll all the way down, the interest down here at the 270,301. So you can obviously make some comparisons between the two as you extend or descend the loan terms. Okay, let's do it. Let's do another one. Let's do it again. But this time, let's do it with 10 years. What if we break it down to 10 years? I want this thing done in 10 years. I don't want to be paying interest. I don't care if the payment's higher. I want it done after 10. That's our objective. So, okay, that means we'll do the same calculation for 10 years. This is going to be the PMT for 10 years. Negative PMT shift 9 rate 12%. That's the yearly rate. So we'll divide it by 12 to get the monthly rate, comma. Number of periods is now 10, but that 10 is in the form of, that 10 is in the form of years. And we want to make it months. So we'll times 12 and then comma. And the present value is going to be the 100,000 once again. And there we have it. So now we're at the 1,435 as opposed to the 15-year, which was 1,004. So now we got to pay more money monthly, but the interest will be lower because we're paying it off over a shorter period of time, and therefore we're not renting the purchasing power of the money for as long, just like if we weren't renting an apartment for as long and we're paying less rent on it or less interest on it. So let's do our period calculation again. This is going to be 0, 1, 2, tie my shoe. That does work, tie my shoe. You don't need a buckle. 1, 2, tie my shoe. And we'll copy this down, copying this all the way down. And there we have it. Let's center it. Center. Okay, and then we have the loan on the outside. This is going to be equal to the 100,000, the 100,000. And this is going to be equal to the 1435. F4 on the keyboard, making it absolute so we can copy it on down. Interest calculation is going to be equal to the 100,000 times the 12%. Let's make that an absolute reference. F4 on the keyboard, $ before the Z and the 2. Then divide it by 12 because we need the monthly amount, not the yearly amount. Tab. Then we're going to take equals the 1,435 minus the 1,000, giving us the 435 difference or decrease in the loan amount. And loan amount then after year 1 equal of 100,000 minus the decrease of the 435. It's down to the 99565. Let's select those 4 cells and make the magic happen. Magic making time. Double clicking on the fill handle, and then it just copies down magically. And there we have it. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. Total. And then let's put an underline under these ones, font group and underline, and we'll sum this up equals the SUM, and then we'll go up to the summit of the column so that we can complete the summit function as we sum it. And when we reach the top, it's really exciting. You might want to take some time to observe as you're at the peak of the column. And then enter, and then we'll copy this across with the fill handle, copying it across. So now we've got the interest at the 72,165 versus the last one, which I think is this column here, the 11630, because we're paying it over a shorter time frame. Let's bring it down to 5 years and say, well, what if I want to get this thing done in 5 years? I'm paying this thing back in 5. I don't care if the payments are high, because I don't like having debt hanging over me for 30 years. I'm paying this thing down in 5 years. And you're like, but you get a tax break in this. I don't care about the tax. I don't want the debt. I don't want the debt. I'm going to be putting 5 years down here. And this is going to be a PMT 5 years. And let's see what that does then to our payments. Negative PMT shift 9 rate is going to be 12%. We're going to then take that and divide it by 12 to get us the monthly rate. Comment. Number of periods is going to be 5. That's years times 12. And then comma. And then the present value is going to be the 100,000 and enter. Now we're at the 2,224 as opposed to the 1,435. It's like, man, that's a lot higher. But I'll be done in 5 years, though, this way. So, and obviously, if you were looking at these different loan options, if you could still have the option of paying off the loan, meaning paying off more of the principal earlier and take the longer loan in the event that you have a problem with it, then that could be an option as well. Some loans may restrict you from doing that because you can see that from the bank's standpoint, if they can lock you into a 30-year loan and not allow you to pay it off earlier, but rather make you pay the interest for 30 years, they might kind of like that, right? So you want to make sure that, if you want to pay it off earlier, that you have the option to do so. And then, of course, you'd be paying less interest that way as well. So if we do this, we're going to say 0, 1, 2, tie my shoe. And then we're going to say, let's handle that down to 60 periods because 5 times 12 is 60. 5 years times 12 months is 60. Let's center that. And then we're at our center. We have centered. And then we're going to say the loan is 100,000 again on the loan. And the payment is going to be equal to the 2,224 about now. F4 that one on the keyboard, making an absolute $ before the AO and the 1. And then the interest is calculated at the 100,000 times the 12%. That one, I don't want it to move down, so absolutizing it. $ before the AL and 2, in other words. And then we divide it by 12 to break it down to the monthly amount. Subtracting these two out, the 2224 minus the 1,000 gives us that something went horribly wrong there. Hold on, is that right? That's right. That is right. So we got the 1,225 decrease in the loan balance. This is going to be equal to the 100,000 minus the 1,224. And then we'll just copy that down. Same process, selecting those 4 cells, putting our cursor on the magic fill handle. And then just like what's her name does when she taps her red slippers together, we tap on that fill handle like that. And then the magic happens. And then the whole thing populates. That's more magical than going back to Kansas or whatever, the brick road of gold and stuff. So then we're going to sum this up, summing this up. Here we have it. And then we'll copy that across to finalize this thing because I think I'm getting tired. So I'm getting delirious or something. This is too many amortization tables. Then we're going to font group and underline it. And that means that the interest is at the 33,467 versus here we had the 72,165 on the interest. So obviously you can see the impact on the loan payments that you will have, the trade-off between the loan payments, let's say 5 years, and the interest that will be paid. And of course, again, keep in mind that if you have the option of extending the loan period at the same rate, but still the option of paying it off early, then maybe you can get some of the benefit of both worlds in that case, still planning on saying, I'm paying it off in 5 years, I don't care, but I want to take a 30-year loan just in case, or something like that, if you could, because they give you the option to pay it off in 5 years if I want to do that. So we got the difference between the loans at the 2,224 for the 5 year, the 1,435 at the 10-year. We got the 1,200 at the 15-year, and then the 1,029 at the 30-year. I think I could pay that one. I'm gonna get me a loan or something. So in any case, that's it.